that have come out of Barcelona. There may also be a hostage situation at a nearby Turkish restaurant near where the van then eventually stopped after hitting and running over all of these people.
We mentioned that the CIA had put out an alert and warned Spanish authorities that Las Ramblas was going to be a target for terrorists. And to me, that's kind of a no-brainer. It's common sense. Okay, where are the most people gathering the most times of the day? Las Ramblas. It's going to be a natural target. But what do you do when you get that kind of information? Bryan Suits Bryan Suits joins us now to kind of help us out with this. Bryan.
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
There you are.
There you are.
All right.
What do we know about what's going on in Spain right now, in Barcelona? Do we know if there is an actual second location, this restaurant that may have been taken hostage?
Well, I'm seeing it confirmed now from Spanish media and Fox and MSNBC that I guess all they're confirming is that local media is reporting 2 armed men are holed up in a bar after the van attack, which, so far this fits the profile of what we've seen, like Gary was outlining, since July of last year at Nice, that you initiate with a truck, and then if you have the means, like in Spain they have firearms, in London they had knives, and then they had those fake, suicide vests. And it looks like the guys in London intended to take a bunch of hostages in one of those bars that they ran in, through the use of the fake suicide vests or whatever. But it was foiled. But these guys, because that is what the ISIS detail is. Okay, go to a crowded place full of tourists, hopefully kufar, which is Arabic for infidel. Run them down and then cause more damage, kill as many as you can. And all that. So this is it's going to be called ISIS inspired and whatever. And like I've always said, if you think you're an ISIS and you're killing people in the name of ISIS, I believe you. I'm not going to debate you on that.
Yeah, take them at their word in that case.
Hey, Bryan, what would you recommend? Say the CIA came to you and you're the head of Barcelona and said, hey, we think Las Ramblas is up next. We think there's going to be an attack here at some point. What do you do short of shutting it down?
I would definitely put up chicanes, barricades so that vehicles can't get that straight shot. They can't get up to 60 miles an hour. And maybe put those up. And I've seen some European cities and some American cities that do it right, like the Embarcadero in San Francisco. Even though there's a big wide sidewalk, there's a huge part of it where you can't weave in between it, so you can't build up a head of steam and go 80 miles an hour. And that's a countermeasure that any city can put up. They can temporarily put up gigantic planters, but which actually work as a chicane. Like at every American base in Iraq and Afghanistan, every foreign base, you can't drive straight in. There's not a straight driveway up to the gate because that's basically a landing strip for a suicide bomb. So what we do is we make the vehicles weave back and forth through the use of sandbags or tire spike strips or whatever, and that's called a chicane. And it's really easy to do, and it doesn't impede the pedestrians at all, but it impedes a 19-ton truck from getting up to lethal speed. Because if a truck is going 20 miles an hour and he's 100 yards away, you're going to get out of the way. Remember, in Nice, he just went barreling down that sidewalk, going bump, 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 and that and I guess is Gary Barcelona but it's Oscar, you, me, but in this part of Barcelona, it's like that as well.
Hey, I wanted to ask you about the tactical situation that's going on now outside or inside of that restaurant where these guys are apparently holed up with we don't know how many hostages. Can you hang on and talk about that when we come back?
Yeah.
All right, we're talking with Bryan Suits, who is the host of Dark Secret Place, and you hear him all over the place here on KFI. We will come back, more of our coverage of what's going on in Barcelona right after this. Gary and Shannon live today at Ballast Point down in Long Beach. Gary and Shannon,
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. We are out at Ballast Point today in Long Beach. Unfortunately, not in the studio for all of this breaking news, but if you want to stop by and join us, it's a day to have a beer.
You need a break.
Or two, and a beautiful view out here. But we're talking to Bryan Suits right now about what is unfolding in Barcelona. Of course, we know at least one person has died. If you look at video footage, that number is certain to go up. 32 people injured when a guy, at least one guy, maybe two, rented a van right there in Barcelona and then took it to the most heavily populated area of the city, Las Ramblas, jumped the curb and drove through the crowd for about a third of a mile, striking several different people. Then apparently we've got another situation. We don't know if it was the same guys or a different set of guys that are armed. We are told reports are that they are armed and that they are holding hostages. We don't know what kind of number up at a Turkish restaurant there near Las Ramblas.
Bryan Suits, host of Dark Secret Place, has joined us to talk to us about this. Bryan, what is going on? What would be going on outside or even inside that restaurant if those guys are in there?
The Spanish follow pretty much the same procedures that most of the other European federal, authorities do. They generally wait around for the federals to show up from Madrid, or like the Germans wait for Berlin, or the French wait for Paris. And so the local authorities cordoned off the area to make sure no one gets away. And the Spanish National Police Force have a very capable anti-terrorist unit called El Geo, the GEO, and they're probably there now. They've had 2 hours to get there. They're probably there on the scene now. And what they do, their initial thing is to interview witnesses and get as much intelligence about, get a firm handle on how many people there are, and then they will do exactly what we do: send in drones, send in other classified surveillance methods to confirm that there's only two gunmen, and then develop a plan. And if they can negotiate with these guys, though they know these guys don't have a negotiation position, they're just taking hostages. But if they can buy some time and get better intel, and find a floor plan for the restaurant or whatever, then ultimately they immediately start planning for an assault, either a hasty assault with the police that are on scene, or a more deliberate assault with a few more resources. But that's probably what they're doing now.
Well, I think that situation sort of, unfortunately, embodies a lot of what we're dealing with here. Is even if they have hostages, it's not as if they have demands that can be met. They're not going to ask for a plane to take them to Damascus. They're not going to ask for money or a helicopter or a car. That's not what they're asking for. They don't have demands. So the end of this is they're going to die.
RTV.
Yeah, and they know that. And that's where they know, the Spanish authorities and the French, and they, like in London, they know that's a ruse. Hostages are just basically future dead people.
RTVE is a local outlet there in Barcelona, and it is reporting that a suspect has been arrested. Don't know where, don't know if this is one of the people that was connected to the restaurant, or if somebody may be connected to where that second van was found. Remember, Jennifer told us that second van that they was worried about was also connected to this, was found about 40 miles away north of Barcelona. We don't know where this person has been arrested. This is according to RTVE. Also, Barcelona's TV3 reports that the Spanish passport of a person of Moroccan origin was found at the scene of the attack. Again, found at the scene of the attack could mean nothing, could mean that that's the suspect.
Bryan, what kind of presence does the United States, military presence does the United States have in Spain? And would any of that be activated? Would it be on high alert? Would they be asked to help out at all?
We've got a very crucial major U.S. Navy base at Rota, R-O-T-A, Rota, Spain. And it is a big deal, and it had been there for years. And the Spaniards, of course, are members of NATO, and they're involved on the ground in Iraq against ISIS. They're training Iraqi forces, not doing a lot of combat, but they're training Iraqi special forces and regular guys and things like that. And then the U.S. Air Force goes in and out of Spain all the time. whether it's basing or refueling or whatever. But the major American presence is Rhoda.
All right, Brian, keep up on it. We'll probably check back in with you sometime later on in the show.
I will start drinking from right now. I'm kidding. I won't start drinking.
Okay. Just wait until 2.
Well,
in honor of you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Bryan
Appreciate
Suits, host of Dark Secret Place there. Again, to reiterate what Shannon said, this Spanish public broadcaster, RTVE, says one suspect in the van attack has been arrested. But again, just the basics of what we're dealing with. Rented van hit a crowd in Barcelona in one of the very busy tourist open-air market areas of town called Las Ramblas. And although Catalan police have only confirmed one death, it's very clear that death toll will officially rise because other media outlets have been saying that the death toll is up around 13, maybe even higher than that at this point.
We talked with Jennifer about how it looked like the reporters were not allowed in the scene. Obviously, the police, they cordon off the perimeter when something like this happens. But there were people inside the perimeter that were taking video of the carnage. CNN is now airing that. And I'll talk to you about that when we come back.
Very good.
And we've got a report on where police are going to search for suspects, too. All of that coming up next on Gary and Shannon. Gary and Shannon, KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk.
Well, they do call it News and Brews for a reason. Unfortunately, the news today is not too good coming out of Barcelona. But we happen to be live today at Ballast Point down in Long Beach. While we're doing that, we are obviously following the story out of Barcelona. There was at least one person killed officially, according to Catalan police. 32 injured. A van crashed into a crowd in downtown Barcelona, very heavily traveled tourist area, an open market area called Las Ramblas. They are treating this as a terrorist attack. There were hundreds, if not a few thousand people who had to take cover in nearby shops and cafes and churches, everywhere that's in there. Whoever it was that did this drove this van, they say, as long as 500 meters, hitting people, injuring people, killing people, and that they were searching for several people, at least for the driver who may have run away on foot. And then, of course, there was a report that we talked about earlier that at least one person had, in fact, been arrested, although we don't have necessarily more of an update other than one person was arrested.
Also reports that there is a live hostage incident going on right now inside a Turkish restaurant near the scene. Again, we don't know if this person was arrested around the scene, or there are reports that there was a getaway car. There was a second van in play that one or more of these terrorists used to get out of town. It was found about 40 miles north of Barcelona there. So we don't know if somebody was picked up there or if that suspect was arrested near Las Ramblas.
Yeah, and as we try to get more details about what may be this hostage situation at this restaurant or bar, we're looking back at the original attack in this case, which was a van that ran through the crowd. There are a couple of photographs that have come out of the van itself, believed to have been rented there in Barcelona. The front end of that van is completely crumpled after having run into all of those people. There's a video, a still that was taken from a video and then posted by a British newspaper, The Guardian, that shows the front of that van just completely crumpled and debris, just a swath of debris behind it.
Carol Augustin is working at a place that goes back to the 18th century there on Las Ramblas, houses government offices, tourism information center, and things like that. Carol says the van passed right in front of the building. She says, we saw everything. People started screaming, running into the office, chaos. Families with children, police made us close the doors and wait inside. You're hearing a lot of that coming from Barcelona. People have been holed up inside wherever they could get into when the carnage started happening. President Trump has tweeted, by the way, we should note, the United States condemns a terror attack in Barcelona, Spain, and we will do whatever is necessary to help. Be tough and strong. We love you.
That was just about 6 minutes ago that tweet came out. The First Lady also tweeted and said thoughts and prayers to #Barcelona. If you're in that area, well, you are not, but if you happen to be in that area, police are saying that no one is being allowed to move anywhere in that Las Ramblas area without a police escort.
This is a very dense area, not just shops and restaurants and department stores, but people living